Hey guys, here I am again. Today I'm gonna have a lot of different topics and it's gonna get really confusing because I haven't really been doing my journals as often as I should because every time that I do a journal, a whole bunch of different things happen and then it gets all mixed up and it's really confusing and it's like, ah. Okay, but I'm gonna start off on a good-ish note, I guess. It's not really good. It's not really bad either. But we're gonna start off talking about guys. So, um, Barrett. I talked about him a little bit before, and I really liked him. Right? Like he was nice. He was sweet. He was attractive. Like he was awesome. Until I asked him if he wanted to go see Paranormal Activity 4 with me, and he said he couldn't because he wanted to see Sinister with he already made plans to see Sinister with his friends. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But I was kind of hoping that he'd be like, hey, do you want to come with me and my friends? Because how many times did he hang out with me and my friends, right? Is it that bad? Am I that much of a burden to ask if I can go with his friends? Unless it was Will Reimer, and then it would be really awkward. Because there was this random time where Barrett just randomly texts me. He's like, "You know Will Reimer?" And I'm like, kind of. Like, I see him around, but we don't talk. And then he's like, "Oh, nice." And I was like, "Okay, okay." Anyways, and we haven't talked since then. Like, well, I texted him once, and he read it, and he didn't reply, and so I'm like, okay, whatever. And then 2 days later, I texted him again, and then he read it and still didn't reply, and so you know what? I'm like, you can text me if you want to talk to me, because apparently you don't, because every time I text you, you don't answer my thing. You don't answer my text message. Why do you not answer my text message? Right? Like, anyways, so, I don't know. I really liked him, and I probably still like him, but now I kind of like more than one person at a time, and I don't know whether that's right. I don't know whether that's how it's supposed to be. I kind of thought that you were only supposed to like one person at a time. It's never really happened to me before where I like more than one person. Um, but I like four. I don't know, guys. Uh, yeah. I don't know why. I don't know how. Maybe, okay, I don't like them. Maybe I just have a crush on them, which is different, right? Like, and I haven't even talked to the other two, and the other one I barely have talked to, so I don't know what's going on, man. Like, oh, anyways, okay, so, the first one, I've never talked to him in my life. I just find him insanely attractive, and I get butterflies whenever I walk by him. It's like, blah, 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 butterflies. And that's Mitchell Musso. Not the actual Mitchell Musso that you are thinking of. At my school, we have a kid named Brady who looks exactly like Mitchell Musso, except I find Brady more attractive than Mitchell Musso. So, yeah, he is an attractive person, that Brady. Oh, Brady. I've never talked to him in my life, and I probably will never, so I'm not gonna hold on to that. Um, the other one also goes to my school, and I don't really know whether I like him or if, um, well, okay, I don't like him. Like, okay, let's put it this way. If he asked me out, I would probably say yes if I didn't have Barrett and the other guy that I'm gonna mention in my mind. So if I hadn't met Barrett, if I hadn't met the other guy, and I would say yes. But now I like all these other people and I don't know who I would pick or whatever. So, yeah, yeah, okay. So the next one that I'm talking about now is Ryan Acosta. Everyone thinks he's really not attractive. I find him quite attractive. I don't know, maybe I'm just weird, but yeah. But like I didn't like him, but then I guess I caught him looking at me once in a while during Spanish or whatever, and then I don't know, maybe out of the thought that, hey, maybe he likes me. Maybe that's kind of where I got the whole maybe I like him thing. But I don't know, like I don't know whether he likes me or not. But he always looks at me and stuff, like he'll like be talking to someone and but he'll like look at me for a second, then he look back to his friend, and then he look at me, and then back at his friend. And then one time, and he just like he always looks at me and like I look at him and it's just like bam, we're looking at each other. Oh my God. Sorry guys, I did not get very much sleep last night. Ow. Yeah. And I'll explain why later. Um, so, what now? Oh yeah, okay, talking about Ryan Costa here. And then me and Dylan were on the bus to go to start Second Cup, during our spare. Well, it was at lunch, but like we were going for 2 hours or whatever, and so we would take up our spare. But anyways, it was lunchtime. We were taking the bus, the 16 down Osborne, and who happened to be on the bus but Ryan Acosta and all his friends. But his friends all sat at the back of the bus, and then Ryan Acosta didn't have a seat, so he sat. Okay, so you know how the buses have the doors on the side that you have to touch for them to open? He sat on his chairs across from there. And me and Jalen were like on the top or whatever, and we were like 2 seats behind the wall-y thing that like after the steps, there's that wall or whatever. Yeah. We were there, and then he kind of leaned over onto a seat or whatever, and his friends weren't sitting right behind us. There was some old couple behind me and Jalen, and then I don't know, he just kept on looking at me over and over and over again. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that I actually feel special, and that's the only reason that I like him. I don't know. Like, someone could ask me, like, okay, well, the reason why I think I have a crush on Ryan Acosta is because he's funny, he's cute, he's nice, as far as I can see. Uh, and yeah, like, what else really is there, right? Well, of course, his personality, but funny and nice are kind of personalities, so. Yeah, and then his friends came down or whatever because they missed their stop because they meant to stop at Burger King, but then they didn't realize they passed Burger King. Swear to God, the English kids need some braining up to do. And no, just because I just made up a new word does not. That just shows how smart I am instead of how stupid I am and couldn't pick a word that's already made. Yeah, I just confused you. Be confused. Anyways, sorry. Um, And so, yeah, and his friends came up or whatever, and then he was talking with his friends, and there was none of his friends by us anymore. And he just kept, like, he glanced over a few times. Like, not a few times, like, a lot of times. He'd be talking, and then he'd, like, look over, like that, like, legit, like, except it was more attractive. But like he glanced over at me like every like 3 seconds, and it was kind of awkward because I guess I was looking at him too because I was waiting for him to look at me, and so I don't know whether he was looking at me because he was seeing if I was still looking at him or what, but he kept on looking at me, and I told Jameer that. I did not tell Jameer I liked him. I told Jameer that Ryan Acosta kept on looking at me. I did not say I like Ryan Acosta. In fact, I did say I do not like Ryan Acosta like a bajillion times, but no, Jameer had to go straight into French class or geography class, who the hell cares, and goes up to Liam, who was on the football team with Ryan Acosta, who was friends with Ryan Acosta, and tells Liam that, and Jameer tells Liam that I have a crush on Ryan, but at first Liam thought I was talking about or Jameer was talking about Ryan Bergen. But then Jameer found out that Liam thought it was the wrong Ryan, and so Jameer nicely, and how nice of him to clarify that it was Ryan Acosta. And so Liam said that he was going to tell Ryan. And so we had Spanish today, and this happened yesterday, and so I wasn't sure whether Ryan knows or not, but he was looking at me a lot more than usual in Spanish. And then we talked for like 3 seconds or whatever. I don't know whether, I don't think it was flirting. To be honest, I don't really know how to do that. But I don't really know when other people are doing it to me either. And it's a lot easier over text because you can tell because it's a winky face or whatever. Obviously, if you're just being funny and you put a winky face, it's not flirting. But at least during text message, I can tell when someone's flirting. But anyways, and then so it was like the simplest thing of Spanish or whatever, right? I just had to walk up there, do two, el, ellos, nosotros, vosotros, and whatever else. I don't care. I don't pay attention in Spanish. But it was really simple. I just wrote it down. And I turned around, and then Ryan Acosta's like, "Oh, so you're showing off there, making us all look bad, eh?" And then I'm like, "Yep." I walked away. Smooth moves, Becky. Sorry, I think I'm getting sick, and this is really not a good time to be getting sick, and I will tell you why later. But yeah, like smooth moves, Becky. Saying yep. Who are you? The freaking guy from Storage Wars? Yep. Or no, that's not how he does it, but whatever. You get my point. Whoever watches Storage Wars. Dave. Dave from Storage Wars. Yep. My voice went really low. But like, honestly, I don't know whether it was flirting or not. I don't think it was. But that was like the first time we actually talked. Which is really ridiculous considering he looks at me half the time during class. And half the time when we see each other when we're not in class. And considering that I get freaking butterflies whenever I walk by him or whatever, and I get nervous and blah 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 blah. I don't know, man. And then I'm like, and I told Liam like, how would I like Ryan Acosta? I've never even talked to him. And then Liam's like, you don't have to have talked to someone to like them, Becky. And I'm like, well, that's good to know. Thanks. Didn't know that. Thanks. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. And I tried getting people to ask Liam whether he actually told Ryan to see if like he's looking at me because he thinks it's weird that I like him, or if he likes me and no one told him, or if someone told him and he did like me and so he's looking at me even more because he knows that I like him and he likes me and bleh. Confusing girl talk, I know. I'm sorry to any guys who are watching this, if anyone actually does watch this. I am sorry because there's a lot of girl talk. But you know what? I'm a girl, so I'm allowed to do it. But garçon número 4. Yeah. I didn't have to count my fingers. I was just making sure that I said four of the guys. But número 4. Okay, 4. So I have my beginners now, my beginner's license. I passed test first try. Woot woot. But we still had classes, and then the first day that I went to driver's ed, there was this guy. Didn't know his name, never talked to him or anything. And I thought he was very attractive. I was kind of, you know, yeah, I thought he was attractive. And then I never talked to him at all because when it comes to guys, I shut down. Whether they're just my friends or whether I do like them or whether they're just acquaintances, I shut down. I don't know what's going on in my brain, but just mush, mush, mush as a verb, and it happens to my brain. Anyways, yeah, okay. And so I went throughout the whole freaking course without talking to this guy, okay? And the last class, and you know, I liked him. I've never spoken a word to him, but I liked him. He was funny. He always made remarks or whatever that were funny. And he was sitting by himself one time because his friend Sean, he had to charge his phone and he had to go to a different desk. And I don't know why, but I found this really attractive. He sat he sat with a table, and they were like large tables or whatever, and he sat like this, like, okay, I can't do it because I'm not flexible, but like straight legs, and he was like, I don't know why, but like his feet on his helmet and him just sitting like this, I found it pretty darn attractive. I don't know why, don't ask me why, but he just sat there like that, and I found it really attractive. So yeah, I'll just do the rest of my video like this. It's different, hey? Yeah. Okay. Sorry about my makeup. It's kind of bad. I didn't really care after I got home from the mall. But yeah, so hadn't talked to this guy. He found him really attractive though, and I liked him too, right? Like he was funny and he made me laugh, and I don't know, I liked him. So last class, I purposely sat in a desk because he always sits in the same spot, right? And so I sat the seat beside he usually sits on, like there's tables and you can fit two to a table. And so I didn't sit on the other side of the same table. I sat on this side. He sits at this table, like this table over here, pretend there's a table. And then there's a table over here, okay? And he usually sits here on this table. And so I sat here on this table. So we were basically sitting beside each other. And he came in, and then Sean asked a question like, oh, what are we doing in this class or whatever, to, I'm not saying his name yet because technically then I didn't know his name. And so to tell, oh my god, it's so stupid. Oh, I just said I wouldn't say his name. Hopefully you guys didn't catch that, but I'm pretty stupid because I just said, oh, I won't say anything yet because I didn't know his name, and I just said his name. Whatever. Okay, so the guy said to Sean, I don't know, and then I spoke up, and I'm like, oh, we have a PowerPoint first, and then we have to do our test or whatever, right? And then that's all I said, and then he's like, and then the guy said, oh, sweet, and he sat down, and that was the only time that we ever talked. Oh my god. What happened to the guys in the movies where they make the first move and they pretend to be confident whether they are or not? That's what I need, because I suck at all things, anything like this. Like, I'm terrible all the time. It's just like, why can't the guy do something first? You know, like, I feel like I'm always the one having to try and make a fool of myself doing all this, but whatever. Anyways, and so I finished the test or whatever, and so I decided, hey, I'll go to McDonald's because I have to wait for my dad, who's obviously going to take a long freaking time to pick me up. So I went to McDonald's across from Grant Park. Guess who was there? Huh? Huh? Guess who was there? That's right, that guy. And Rachel, who was my in-car friend, partner. And she was there too. And then so I was talking to her, and then I guess him and Sean went and sat down, and me and Rachel were waiting for our food. And I asked him, hey, so what? I asked her, so what's that guy's name? And then he's like, who? Sean? I'm like, no, his friend. And then she's like, Tal? And I'm like, yes, I'm assuming. The guy in the red backpack. She's like, oh yeah, that's Tal. And then I'm like, oh, sweet. And then my food came, or her coffee came, and then so she left. And then, so I got my chicken finger, no, McBites or something like that. They're really crappy. Don't waste your money on stupid chicken McBites. They're not good. They look good on the commercials and on the newspapers and everything, but they're not good. Get a freaking chicken sandwich thing. Those things are freaking delicious. Get one of those. Those are good. But anyways, other than my McDonald's rant here, then I was waiting for Safeway because at Safeway, in between like the two doors, because you know how there's that awkward insideness before you go into the actual store where all the carts are. I was waiting in there because my dad said, "Hey, wait outside or wait at Safeway. I'll pick you up at Safeway." And I'm like, "Why don't you just pick me up at Grand Park?" "Oh, it'll be easier. We can go to Safeway." I'm like, "Oh my god, okay, whatever." And then so I was waiting there. I was on my phone, and then all of a sudden I looked up, and who's there but freaking Tal? Like he was right there. Just I looked up, and he was just right there. And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And me being the freaking nervous person, I went back and looked on my phone because I was just like, he wasn't talking to me or anything. He was with his friend, and he just kind of walked through. And then it was really awkward. And then so I texted Rachel, and I'm like, "Hey, so does Tal have a girlfriend?" And then she's like, "You like Tal?" And I'm like, "Well, I think he's cute. We haven't really talked, or we haven't talked before, but I think he's cute." And then yeah, so she talked to Sean, who talked to Tal, who talked to Sean, who talked to Rachel, who talked to me, and I added him on Facebook because that's what Sean told me to do, and so I did. And then we talked about math. I hate math. I suck at math. I really just want to stab math in the neck and watch it bleed out until it's freaking pale white, that you can't tell the difference between a white fluffy cloud and math. That's how white I want it to be, to make sure all the blood is out of its system so it'll never come back to life, and it will bring me so much joy to watch all the blood flow out of math. Math had blood. Anyways, other than my math rant here, we talked about math for like 3 hours. That's pretty ridiculous. But yeah, and then Rachel was talking to Tal today, I think. Me and Rachel went to the mall today. And then she was telling me how like she's like, "Oh, so you talked to Rebecca, eh?" And he's like, "Yep, we talked about math." And then Rachel's like, "Oh, nice." And I guess they don't talk very much. But yeah, so they talked about me though, and so she's like, "You should get to know her better. She's really awesome." And I'm like, "Oh, Rachel." But yeah, and then so we tried talking today, but my phone died and I'm charging it right now, and I was talking to Tal. But anyways, those are the four guys. Mitchell Musso is just really attractive. If he asked me out, I'd say yes. But, like, I don't really know about his personality. He's supposedly really, really nice and really funny. Because Kaylin was friends with him. But they're not too much anymore because they're not in the same class. So they don't really talk. But, yeah, apparently he's really nice and stuff. Ryan Kloss is really nice, really funny, really attractive. They're all really funny, really nice, and really attractive. I think, like, we have a pattern here. But I don't know. Barrett, I don't know what's going on with him. I wish I knew, but I don't. I mean, I've been doing this for half an hour. Okay, so I'm going to raise this up because I have some more serious topics to pursue. Okay, and now you can't see my face. Okay, up a little bit more then. Sorry, guys. Okay, there we go. So I've been doing horribly at math. I'm pretty sure I've been doing pretty bad at Geo and French and Bio. Not as bad as math. Math is probably my worst right now. So you guys know I talk about UOT a lot. You know how much it means to me, and you know how I get when I feel like I'm not gonna make it. If you don't, video 13 might be over here, not quite positive over there in the recommendation videos. I'm not sure, related videos. I'm not sure whether they're there, whether it's there or not. I'm just hoping, because then I'll look really stupid. I'm stupid anyway, so that's fine. But for those of you who have been following me through this whole thing, this is my dream, man. There's not much else to say, like, it would mean, like, I don't even, like, if I couldn't go to the U of T, like, I wouldn't really want to go anywhere. This is definitely where I want to go, and it's what I want to do with my life, is go to U of T and be on Degrassi or Pretty Little Liars, or probably not Pretty Little Liars, but, like, I want to be an actress, and I want to have an education to back me up, because I don't want to be one of those actresses that everyone thinks is just stupid, and they pick an actress because you don't need anything. But, like, for me, I need pre-cal. And pre-cal is a bitch. For me. Like, there's people out there who can do all this in a freaking snap, and I am so jealous of them, because it's really hard for me to think that it comes so easy to some people and then just totally not come to you at all for other people like me. And sometimes it gets me really, really upset. I get frustrated with myself, and then I don't do it because I'm frustrated with myself and I don't feel like I deserve it. And so I guess that's what happened when I started getting behind. I guess one incomplete homework led to another, which led to another, which led to another. It started getting scarier and scarier and scarier because the pile grew and grew and grew. And and then we had a test that I hadn't done any of the homework for. And when I left that test, before I did it, I pretty much knew that I was going to fail, because how do you fail? How do you pass something you never studied for? I pay attention in class all the time. I ask questions. I write down all the notes that are given to me. I understand it then. I go and do the homework and it's gone. I'll reread my notes over and over and over and over again, and it won't help. So, what's the point of doing something if you feel like there's no point? If you're not going to get something out of it, why even try? I have that answer. Because everyone is capable of anything. If there's one thing I've learned during this pre-cal, is that like, to those people who say you can't do it, and who say that only the chances of you actually succeeding in something is lower than you know you can do, fuck them. Because you can do whatever you want to do. There is no doubt in my mind that if I work my ass off, if I stop sleeping for a while, which is what I did last night, you can do it. And you can't let anybody tear you down and say, oh, you can't do it. Why are you even trying? Or if there's some snot in your class that says that, like, that bugs you for getting a bad mark. If you get a bad mark, you can always make it better. Whether she gives you a redo test or not, just get better on the next one. Which is what I'm going to do, because you know what? I got a 1.5 on 12 on my last pre-cal test. I am not proud of that, but seeing that mark pushes me to do better. Because I know that I did not deserve that 1.5. I know that I could have done way the hell better than 1.5. I am not a 1.5. I got 80% on my first test. And this one, I got a 1.5. Why did I get a 1.5? Because I stopped believing in myself. I let that pile define me. A pile of homework that I hadn't done, that got scary and scary and scarier, I let that take over what I knew I could do. And I'm not going to let it do that anymore. I still don't get pre-cal, but it doesn't mean that I can't succeed in it. Because there's always, no matter how terrible things might seem, there's always some way you can make it better. It's your parents fighting. Find something that makes you happy to do, and do that instead of listening to them fight. And if your parents are fighting, I know very well that you listen to them fight, because I did it when I was a kid. They used to go downstairs whenever they were fighting and scream at each other. And as a little girl, I would sit on the steps going down the stairs and listen and just cry and cry and cry, because I was so scared they were going to get a divorce. No matter what the fight was about, I always thought it was somehow me. It was somehow just way worse than I thought it was. Like, whenever I heard them fight, I always thought they were going to get a divorce. They didn't, but that's not the point. The point is that instead of listening to them fight, I should have found something that made me happy for that moment. Which is why I am making sure I stay on track. I am going to do all my homework. I'm going to hand it all in. I am going to get grounded because my uncle is going to tell my parents about how I didn't hand in my homework for a really long time and how I got a 1.5 on my test. I'll get grounded. But hey, it's not like I'm going to be doing anything else anyways. I'm going to be doing homework all the time because I need pre-cal. My future depends on it, on this stupid class. And something that really bothers me is if I do ever become a teacher, or if that's what I take in university, is to be a teacher, there is no way that I am not going to try and make sure that my students succeed. I am not going to rig tests. I'm not going to make super easy tests either. I'm going to make sure they feel like they can do it. Because I think that's the most important part. If you can believe you can do something, you're going to do it. You just have to believe that you can do it. And there's a lot of the time where I don't believe I can do anything. Like, I don't believe that I could pass this course, which I possibly could fail this term, but that does not mean that I'm going to fail the whole thing. Because I'm not going to. I can just tell you right now. Because I'm going to work my ass off. And you know what? the way Madame Oul, the first day of pre-cal, her not exact word, yeah, okay, her exact words were, there are only 5 students that graduated with pre-cal under their belt last year. Only a handful of you will actually make it. And I do believe that some of you are in the wrong class. She said that. And I was really, really upset that she started off the year saying that only about 5 of us were going to stay in this class, and that a lot of us weren't even supposed to be in this class. That is not her problem. What her job is to help us to be able to do it. Her job is not to downgrade us and feel like we're not going to do it. Because I can't believe she said that, because I don't know what she was trying to do. Was she trying to make the class smaller so you didn't have to do as much work? Because that's stopping us right on the first day. That is making us believe that we can't do it. Sure, people like Dominique, obviously she can do it, so she didn't have any problems. Me, on the other hand, I suck at math. I've always sucked at math, except for in grade 9 and grade 7, which strangely are the only years that I didn't have Madame Oul. Weird, right? Grade 8, I had Madame Oul. I got 60s. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Grade 7, I got 80s, which is pretty good for me. Grade 8, 60s, 50s, 60s. Grade 9, 90s. Grade 10, possibly a fail. What the hell is wrong with these 2 little fingers over here? Oh, weird, right? I have 2 horrible marks with one of the same teachers. Like, honestly, to be honest, I don't think she should be teaching. Maybe she could be teaching a different subject, but not math. When you go ahead and tell your students that only 5 of you are going to make it, how does that make the people who aren't good at math feel? Because just because we're not good at math does not mean we're not going to try. Does not mean we are stupid, and does not mean that we aren't going to work our ass off to get this. Like, it blows my mind that there's a teacher out there that basically just says give up now. But, anyways, so, one day, the day that I got, no, I can't remember what day it was, but, it was recent. It was this week, I think. And I guess something triggered my thoughts and everything, and everything started just running through my mind at warp speed, like, all these different things just overwhelming me. And so I was at the mall with Jalen, and I just needed to talk. I needed to talk and talk and talk and talk. And that's what I did. I vented so much. And I vented to Jalen. I always vent to Jalen. That's who I turn to, right? But this time, when I got home, everything was just still going through my mind, and everything was just so, it was basically slowly just killing me, like, from the inside out, man. Like, and I couldn't deal with it anymore. Like, I had to find some way to get rid of the pressure, because the pressure was enormous that day, and I had no idea what I was going to do. But the problem was I had to find someone else to vent to, because I felt maybe if I had 2 different opinions, then it would help. But the problem is who's going to be that second opinion? I didn't want it to be Dom because at that time I think we were kind of distant, and I don't know, it just didn't feel like the right time. Brendan, I don't know why I didn't want to vent to Brendan. I guess I didn't, I don't know. But then Jordy popped into my mind. Because Jordy's good at math, and maybe it's because we never talked that much or anything. I don't know what it was. But all of a sudden, just, I waited a while because I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do it, because explaining everything would mean explaining everything. And I wasn't sure whether I was ready for that. And I didn't explain everything, but I explained what needed to be explained, which was enough for me. And so I text him, I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, not much, you? And I'm like, not much, but this is going to be a random question, but it's okay if I vent a little. And then, excuse me. And then, I was not sure I didn't know what I was going to expect. Like, I don't know, I guess I hoped he would be okay with it, but I wasn't sure whether he was going to be, right? Like, you never know. And so, just the way that he was talking to me was just, it made me feel like I was worth something, you know? Like, at that point, I was feeling pretty crappy, and he's like, of course, like, everyone needs to vent. And I'm like, you sure? It's a long story. And he's like, I've got nothing better to do. Shoot. And so, I did. It was a very long text message. But I explained everything. I explained how, I hadn't handed in my homework since A8, and we were on B6 or something, and how I was really just scared that I wasn't going to get into TOU, and how it felt like everyone was against me, and all that jazz. And he texted back, and I just kind of sat there and I read it and started tearing up, right? Because I guess it's one of those moments where you feel like someone else actually believes in you. And it's pretty important, because when you feel like someone believes in you, you feel like you believe in yourself again. Because if other people believe in you, you believe in yourself, right? So I don't know whether it was the fact that now I know that 2 people believe in me instead of just 1 now. I think that really kind of helped a lot. And he offered to help me in everything. Like, he was amazing. Like, me and Jordy never really talked that much before, right? But, like, he just freaking knew what to say. Like, I don't know how he did that, but he turned my freaking crappy night into a really, really nice one. So, by any chance, like 20 years later or something, Jordy, thank you. But yeah, like, uh, like he was just like, said all the right things that I really needed to hear. And pretty much from that conversation on, I made sure that I would do this, do that, on track. No slack. But yeah, like, I started doing my homework and everything again. Uh, I'm not quite caught up yet, but I'll get there. Um, but he didn't judge me either. Like, I was really scared to tell Jordy because I didn't know what to expect. Like, I knew he was a good guy, but, you know, some good guys turn into bad ones pretty fast. Had that happened with girls before, so I was just scared. I wanted to trust him, and I felt like he was trustworthy. Told him about the whole Barrett thing, and he never told anyone, so figured I'd try this. And I just told him how, like, even my mom was like, just switch to essentials. And I think that's what really hurts, is that instead of really believing in me, she's just saying, like, just go to essentials. Like, I don't think she understands that I really need pre-cal. I don't think she understands how much it really means to me. It really sucks, but um, I guess that's what's gotta be, right? Hopefully one day she'll understand. But I'm definitely gonna get grounded. I probably will be forced to get a tutor. Maybe Jordy can be my tutor. There you go. But yeah. But I tried to pull an all-nighter. Me and Jordy tried to pull an all-nighter. I was texting Jordy or whatever. We've texted like every day since then too. Like it's a pattern. Like first I texted him, he texted me, I texted him, he texted me. So it's like a pattern. But yesterday I think he texted me, and so I was doing homework, whatever, and I said I'm gonna try and get it all done tonight. And I'm like, all-nighter. And he said, okay, I'll help you stay awake. And, just the fact that he would even try to keep me and, like, he was legitimately trying to stay awake with me all night, that he was actually, like, even thinking about it was freaking amazing. Because, like, I've never had anyone do that before. And that shows that he really cares. Like, he really cares, and he really wants me to be able to do it. I don't know. Apparently have some really awesome friends then. But yeah, like uh he ended up bailing out at about 11:30, I think, but then like it's okay. Like I didn't last very much longer either. I was drinking root beer trying to stay awake, and then I fell asleep around 2, and I didn't get that much homework done because I didn't really I guess I had to take it slow because I couldn't figure out some of the stuff. I was doing the stuff I knew how to do, and then spent too much time on stuff that I didn't know how to do, and so I didn't get that done. So I ended up just doing about like 3 homeworks, which you know what, isn't too bad. But yeah, and then I crashed about 2 a.m. this morning, and I forced myself out of bed at 7:30 to have a shower to let cook for Ryan Acosta. Uh, yeah, yeah. And then after the shower, I looked at my 2-liter root beer thing that was now empty, read the label, and what is it in huge letters at the bottom? Decaffeinated. Like, honestly, like, oh my god. How stupid am I? Oh god. Hey, if you guys want to ever, stay up and do your homework all night, don't use decaffeinated stuff. Like, oh my god. And the letters were huge. And I don't understand how I didn't see it before. Oh god, 6 of coffee. At least you know that that's caffeinated. Like, oh my god. And then today, my head has been hurting forever. There's so much. See, and my brain's not working either. Like, it's awful. I don't know whether this is what a hangover feels like, but it hurts really bad. Oh, like my head. Ugh. And I slept during French because we had a sub, and I'm pretty sure I slept somewhere else too. Maybe just French. English. No. Yeah. I feel like I'm forgetting something that I should say, but it is like Jordy is an amazing friend. Like, I really wish I would have done this a while ago because I feel like he probably would have saved me from getting into this mess in the first place. But I think knowing that someone really cares, cares about how you are and how, like, or I guess, like, the fact that I know that someone cares enough about me that, or cares about my dreams and stuff and that I succeed, that he'd, like, stay awake all night or try to. Like the fact that he even like offered, and he said that if you ever need help, just tell me, and he was like, if you need help, you'll tell me, right? You'll ask me, right? And it's just like, Jesus, where did he come from? Like, I really wish I would have just talked to him a long time ago because definitely would have helped. But you know what? Like I guess that's just how I am, right? I don't like bothering people with my problems. And I told him how like people and how like I feel bad and whatever. But I realized that after I talked to him about it and the next day, like when I get a bad mark, I just pretend that I don't care when I do, and when someone says like that's what you got or whatever, I just kind of brush it off and joke it off, right? Like that's what I do. Like I don't try and act like I care because people are dicks and they're always gonna be. But I don't know, like I don't know, I just feel like whenever like say if Liam says something and Jordy's there or whatever, I feel like he's kind of saying something in his mind to Liam or whatever, right? And I just like I don't know. Like and Aunt Ool pulled me out of media to talk to me about what happened with my test and everything, and Liam's like, "Oh, you're done." And then I don't know. I kind of mentally heard just Jordy just say like, "Shut the hell up, Liam." Like I don't know whether he was thinking that or not, but I don't know. Like at least I know he cares, right? But he's amazing. Like if you guys ever find a friend like Jordy, freaking like don't be afraid to tell him anything because he will help. But yeah. So that's my little spiel. This is a really long video. It's 53 minutes and a half seconds. And a half a minute, sorry. But you know what? Thank you for listening if you listened to the whole thing. Uh, see you later, guys. Bye.